Welcome to the Gear Garage Live Show. This weekly YouTube show covers whitewater rafting, river safety,
Oh God, I lost my paddle!
gear, and anything else Zach feels like rambling on about.
Well, here we are on another Tuesday doing a Tuesday live show. This is a show I like to do almost every Tuesday around 2 p.m. where I just answer questions. Sometimes I have an agenda. Today I have a little bit of an agenda because there's only one question. Either I've answered all the questions or my answers are so bad and nobody's asking me questions anymore. It's one or the other. I'm not sure which one. But if you do have questions and you're watching, put them in the comments. I'd love to answer questions on the fly. It's probably the most fun, actually, to answer questions on the fly. Here's one right here. Boom. Now that NRS has announced they're no longer making pins and clips, you know anyone who's making or selling them. Chat. Did NRS announce that? Was this a big announcement from NRS? I didn't even know that. Let's look and see if we can figure this out. I'm gonna go to this is the AW accident database. Let's actually, chat, we'll get this in a second because this is on my agenda. I want to talk first about the accident database, and then we'll answer a question, and I'll just keep this open. So the first thing I want to talk about, I bring up the AW accident database every so often. And with the database, you can look at the 20 most recent accidents. And I just think it's nice to occasionally just look these over and see how people are dying, basically. See like what type of rivers, what the cause is, what other factors are, and just kind of go through them. And as a reminder, you can see the first three are class 1. So people are dying in class 1, and it looks like all three are no PFD. One of them is solo paddling. One of them is high water. Here's a stand-up paddleboard, which one boat trip. So in the first 4 fatalities, it's one person by themselves. And a lot of you probably know that, like, I kind of rant on this a bit because people brag about solo laps and paddling by themselves. I feel like if you want to paddle by yourself, one thing is you're taking on risk, and you should know that. And as long as you know that and you're willing to take that risk on, cool. But the thing is, it becomes solo paddling becomes I don't know if the right word is cool or sensationalized or something people should do, and then people do it that don't understand the risk, and that's not good. So I think a lot of us that are solo paddling and bragging about it are not setting a great example for others. And so I would just ask, if you do solo boat, don't post on your Facebook how rad your solo lap was. Like, do it for yourself, and don't tell others about your solo lap. Again, because it will encourage others to go. And you can see, again, in the first 4 fatalities, 2 of them were people by themselves. The stand-up board, surfboard, equipment trap. I'm guessing, and I haven't read these. And if you want to read these, there's short reports here. You can read it. It's probably at an ankle. So what's that called? When you attach the board to a leash, it's probably an ankle leash, I'm guessing. And that's probably a pretty common way paddleboarders die on rivers is they fall off the board and they get attached to the board by their ankle, and they can't, I don't see if it says that here. They can't get free of their ankle leash. If you're going to have a leash, which is a good idea for stand-up paddleboarding, you want like a waist leash, something you can release from your waist without having to get to your ankle. So, and she was not wearing a life jacket and tethered to the board at the waist. So that's the correct way to do it, but no life jacket is not good. So anyway, here we go. High water, class 1, no PFD, health problem, strainer, low head dam, which is a 1 boat trip again, high water, PFD not worn, PFD not worn, PFD not worn, stand-up paddleboard, PFD not worn, lot of no PFDs. There's high water, inexperience, cold water, just going through these, PFD not worn, cold water. So it's just a good reminder of some things. If we want to be safe, there's behaviors that we can do to be much safer on the river. And if you wore a PFD and didn't paddle by yourself and avoided high water and cold water, it would mean a lot more people here are being more responsible, and there'd be less fatalities. In this list of the last 20 accidents, they've been reported. What stands out to me again, people not wearing PFDs, people boarding by themselves, cold water, high water, and yeah. So again, this is just the last 20 accidents. If you want to see more, it's pretty easy. You can just change in the URL, the last two numbers are 20. You can change this to 50 and see the 50 most recent accidents, and go look at all, keep going back before that. You'll just see a lot of, you'll see it over and over. One boat trip, high water, cold water, no PFD, one boat trip, one boat trip. There's 3 one boat trips that are like right there. 3 out of 4 are one boat trips. Well, there's another one. That's 4 out of 6 are one boat trips in this 4 accidents in a row in June. Anyway, just a reminder that this sport that we do is surprisingly forgiving. Surprisingly, like, we're putting ourselves on raging rivers, and the more raging it is, the more cool we think we are. Like, if it's a class 5 raging river, we're like, wow, we're class 5. We're purposely putting ourselves in these dangerous places. And if we're properly dressed, properly outfitted, not boating by ourselves, it's a relatively responsible thing. Yeah. So Blair put, a woman and her dog just died in the Kings. Oh, geez, she became entangled in the leash. Yeah, ropes are surprisingly dangerous. Like, a few times I've underestimated how dangerous ropes are, and they quickly get out of control. And then, of all things, a leash. You really don't want to be in the water with a rope around you. It wraps up your hands, wraps up your feet. You can't swim. And so, yeah, that's awful. That's awful to hear. Okay, let's go to Chad, and let's go back to this question about NRS, pins, and was there some official announcement? I haven't heard this yet. Let's look and see. Let's look at their pins and clips. This product is no longer available. Ooh, yeah, done. Is that here we go, extra, That's nuts. Well, it makes sense because I don't think they're making money on pins and clips. And I think NRS likes to make money. It's hard to make money selling something only a few people use. But, if you want to find more, anyone making or selling them, I Google NRS pins and clips, and I can see Cascade right here selling them. So, can't be found. Never mind. Is anybody selling them? Whoa, they're probably selling the NRS ones, actually. That's why. Here's an article about pins and clips versus Orlocks. That's funny. Even they stopped selling pins and clips. Continental Fire and Safety. Oh, but this is also the NRS ones. Okay, so what I would just do is Google pins and clips rafting. Let's see what we come up with. There's an article I wrote about Orlocks and pins and clips. I'm pretty sure downriver, is this the same one? Sorry, we're just going to go through the internet. This is the one that I like. And this is one, I like this one with the ball on top. Here we go, view details. This is the one that I think is the way to go. Downriver sells it. I think it looks a little different, but I like the ball on top, personally. So it looks like Downriver sells this. The one that NRS sold has the little other thing on top. Pins and clips. Clavey, I think, was the last one. We're seeing a lot of my blog posts. Yeah, let's look at Clavey. They're the ones who historically sold the ones I want. Clavey is a company in California that used to sell a lot of rafting stuff. I think they sell fewer now. This is the one that I would recommend. This is the one that I like. Again, it has the ball on top. It looks like just like the one I've used forever. And $29.95. It looks like Clavey manufactures it. I thought maybe Recrotech did, but I don't know. This is the one I would go with. Hopefully it answers that question. Clavey. What? Really, Cody? He already sells the pins with no more clips. Wow. I have a strategic reserve of pins and clips. I have like a whole cabinet full of them behind me that I call my strategic reserve. Yeah, we gotta look into this because if that's true, I'll try to figure out how to make more and sell them. Wow, they probably don't sell very well, so that's probably why they're not like big money makers. Okay, the NRS oar clip is sold out. I should buy these oar strips while they're still available. I'm gonna send myself a note to buy them. But these stirrups, these plastic stirrups are the key, in my opinion. You want like hard plastic stirrups. They break over time, especially when you leave them out in the sun. So, yeah, Tyler. Maybe I mean I don't need more things to do, but I want to support people that like using advanced technology. So I'll look into it. Okay, let's get on to. Okay, next thing in the show is talking about the cataraft flip line. So this is a flip line. The pause this right here. That I really like when I'm catarafting like class 4 and 5, when a reflip is really important. So I think a key, if you want to be like a good boater, you need to have a 45-second reflip. That means in a practice reflip, you're sitting in your cat boat, you flip the boat back over, you flip the boat over, get back in and flip it back over, sitting back in the seat in 45 seconds. I think that's the standard for class 5 boating. If you're going to run the wind, I don't think you need to have the 45-second flip. But as soon as you want to step it up in the wind to anything, go do the truss, go do the North Fork of what's the thing in Idaho that everybody does? North Payette, go do stuff in California like Cherry Creek, whatever it is. As soon as you want to step it up to other stuff, like the bigger world of boating, beyond just like the wind or whatever else whatever your go-to run is, you need a 45-second reflip. The best way to cut time on the reflip is have these preset flip lines. And if you do flip catarafting, you it's like kayaking, and especially in class 5, you need to get that boat back over. You don't have time to pull out your flip line, clip it on. Now, if that's what you have, that's what you have. But this is something that people have used that I boated with for a really quick reflip. And you can see it flips over pretty fast. I'll go back here. The idea is you climb on the boat, you grab it, and if you can't tell in the beginning here, it's solidly, it's pretty tight against the boat. You could theoretically fall out and get tangled in this line. It's like a perimeter line on your raft. Like you could find a way to get tangled in it. So you're adding a little bit of a hazard, which is a judgment call. But once it's on there and you're upside down, you just jump on, you grab this thing, you flip it back over. Boom. It goes back to where it was. So you don't have to worry about a flip line, and you get back on your seat and go. And this is something that Mad Catter made, Dave Nissen made for a while. A few people have made homemade ones. I'm right now working on making some to sell because I know there's a lot of people that want it. I know there's a lot of demand for it. And so it's harder than it looks, though. You have to find, there's a lot that goes into it. Where we're stuck right now is finding the shock cord that stretches enough. You can see, I wish this shock cord stretched more. I'm having to bend over quite a bit to extend it. And so we're trying to source shock cord right now to where I don't have to lean so far forward. Like, I'm tall and heavy, so I can flip this boat. If you were 5'3", 120 pounds, you probably couldn't flip it with this shock cord. And so finding shock cord that will make it longer to give you a longer lever arm is sort of key. So, yeah, exactly what Gone Long's saying. The flip line you're showing looks like you stretch exactly. Again, I can do it because I'm tall, I have a lot of weight, I have a nice angle. Because I'm tall, I have a nicer angle to flip it over. But this one needs to stretch more. So that's exactly what we're working on right now. So it's been a process. It's not as easy as you would think just to make these. And it's been an ongoing conversation with somebody this summer who's going to produce them for me. But hopefully we'll have them for sale here sometime in the fall. Well, they've been largely unavailable for quite a while. So there's a few more just playing with it. There's my dog Pippin. Yep. So just give everybody a heads up. This is something that, again, it's a trade-off. It's a potential hazard, but it allows you to reflip pretty quickly, and it's something that you might want to consider getting if you're a capo when you have it available. You can also make these. You just get some you get the right bungee cord and you put it inside of webbing, tubular webbing, and you tie it up. It's a little bit of a pain, but you can make these on your own as well. Okay, cool. So we talked about the accident database, flip line. We have one question this week, and then we're done. So if you have questions, let's get at it. Put them in the comments. I recently R2'd down Gore Canyon on the Colorado for the first time. I went because the water level was perfect, the group was trustworthy, and I personally think I'm experienced enough for Class 5. I have 2 years of commercial guiding experience and 6 years of private boating, mostly in Class 4. My R2 partner and I hit all of our lines perfectly, and it was an incredible day. Great story. I love it. I love it. You had a good team. you did a new run with good supports. Things were perfect. Things went great. You had a good day. I love hearing this. This is how it's supposed to be. That being said, I was still surprised at the difficulty and danger level of the river. To me, rafting Class 5 consistently seems like you're rolling the dice on getting hurt or killed. Some Class 5 rapids come down to a wave surging at the right time or the wrong time. Unlike Class 1 to 4, it looks like the difference between swimming and not swimming is not purely skill, but also some randomness. If you hit a Class 5 rapid often enough, you may find yourself in a sieve simply because you got unlucky. Do you agree, or do you think with enough training, experience, fitness, and skill, people can raft Class 5 with total control over their situation? I would like to think that's true because I love Gore Canyon. This is a really astute point. I love this question. I love what I'm being asked. I think this is an amazing question. And I don't always see the questions. At the time I saw this one, I've been thinking about this one quite a bit. And I would say, let's first talk about what Class 5 is. And if we can go to, let's see, AW River classifications. Let's just look at what the classification is. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Class 5, extremely difficult, long, and very violent rapids that include large drops, congested chutes, and all the challenges of Class 4 rapids. I think that's made up. Let's go to the actual. I think that's AI. Class 5 standard rated. Oh, this is a list of the rapids. They're standard. They're rated as Class 5. But what's the definition of Class 5? Let's see if we can find it here. Why can't we just find what class? There's a definition of Class 5 somewhere. International Scale of River Difficulty. Here we go. Click on this. Why can't we find? It should be way easier to find how it's defined. That would help us. Here we go. Class 5 expert. Look, I'm going to read this. This might take a minute. Extremely long, obstructed, or very violent rapids, which expose a paddler to added risk. Drops may contain large, unavoidable waves and holes or steep, congested chutes with complex, demanding routes. Rapids may continue for long distances between pools, demanding a high level of fitness. When eddies exist, may be small, turbulent, or difficult to reach. At the high end of the scale, several of these factors may be combined. Scouting is recommended, but may be difficulty. Swims are dangerous and rescues often difficult even for experts. This is just really vague. I mean, it's basically saying this class 5 is hard. And I think that an important thing here is it's a difficulty rating. This is according to the International Scale of River Difficulty. How difficult is a rapid? How difficult are the moves to make? And then I would say if it's dangerous, it notches it up a factor. So if a river is Class 4 difficult, but there's like a place you could easily die, that might make it Class 5. It's like a kicker. It's like a danger kicker. Or if it's super remote, maybe it like knocks up half of a rung because it's really hard to do rescue. So, and Nick, you have a bunch of comments. I'll try to bring all this up, or everybody else can read this. But remember, it's a difficulty rating. How difficult is the rapid with like a danger remoteness kicker, which makes it harder. So like a Class 3+ in the middle of nowhere that might kill you could be Class 5 because you don't have any room for error, and if you it could be, who knows? It's also subjective. We can make this up. So going back to the question with Gore Canyon, and actually Nick and I kayak Gore Canyon together. So that's funny. The time I've done Gore Canyon once, it was with Nick. I thought several of the rapids were a little bit like you described here, like you're rolling the dice. I felt like Gore Rapid is the very top is funky. It's just hard. It's a very difficult top part. And the swim is pretty terrifying. It's a long swim, and all the rock in that rapid was, as I understand it, blasted to make room for the railroad that's on River Right. And so it's all these sharp rocks. And so that is a difficult move up top that could be in for a really nasty swim. And there's several back-to-back rapids where if you swim, you might just keep swimming, which is a super dangerous. And then tunnel, we did it at kind of low water. I think it was like 700 or 800 CFS. Tunnel was just nasty. It just really wanted to flip people, and like it looked just nasty. And so my take at Gore and tunnel was there was a bit of luck involved. And I think that's kind of what the person you're saying is like, there's kind of a bit of luck. I want to compare Gore Canyon to Cherry Creek. And I'm going to say Cherry Creek is harder and safer. So the moves in Cherry Creek are definitely harder than Gore Canyon. Gore Rapid, that top move it's tricky, but it seems a little bit of luck. And I feel like I would make it 9 times out of 10. Like 1 out of 10, like it's just funky. Something unlucky is gonna happen. A surge of water is gonna happen. Cherry Creek, I feel like I can make those lines 99 out of 100 times. They're really hard, and if you have really high level of skill, then you should do great. Whereas of Gore Canyon, you can go into the high level of skill and still kind of get beat down. And so I think there's some rivers that are very difficult, and they're both class 5. We'll call Gore Canyon and Cherry Creek both class 5. I'm just going to say Cherry Creek is, if I'm going to say in order of difficulty, Cherry Creek is half a step more difficult than Gore, but I would say quite a bit safer. Like I would much rather do Cherry Creek than Gore Canyon if I had the skills. If you have a bad day at Cherry Creek, it's just going to you're going to keep getting beat up. But there are like nicely spaced pools in between the rapids, and the rocks, it's granite. It's not as many like sharp, jagged rocks. And the rapids are like the most difficult part generally is not at the top, where if you swim at at the top, you get messed up. So what I want to do now is maybe look at a little bit of video of Cherry Creek just to see. Let's see, Cherry Creek rafting. Hopefully this makes sense to what I'm saying. Top 5 rapids in Cherry Creek.
The incomparable Upper Tuolumne River, more commonly known in Faith. It's a heart-pounding
like,
Class 5
Blind Faith
initiation
is a pretty
into a
easy
stretch
class
of rapids known as Miracle Mine. After numerous twists, turns, and narrow chutes, you glide down a long drop to avoid a huge hole at the bottom of the rapid. Trust your instincts, navigate with precision, and let blind faith guide you through this unforgettable section of whitewater.
But they're kind of out of play.
Fourth on our list is the monstrous slammer wave in the middle of the Miracle Mine. Part of Gar's Lunch Rapid, this curling wave is preceded by a white knuckle ride, with a technical section up top that demands your utmost.
It's probably one of the most dangerous parts of the river because you
get ready for number 3, Toadstool. Maneuver your raft through the top section and prepare yourself for a nerve-wracking test.
Really weird.
You park your raft in a tiny pool
and there is a
above a colossal drop. Wait for the current to slowly spin your boat into position, then paddle forward to make an epic drop.
We flipped right here and swam. We wouldn't be as stressed.
A runner-up is Mushroom. This Class 5 giant is the longest.
So awesome. It's as long as Gore Canyon. It's just the top part isn't the hardest. And so you'll probably make it halfway down before you have a problem.
And things are kind of padded. Like it would be very unpleasant
to swim.
Your full concentration is required as you zigzag down the river through a maze of boulders and sudden drops.
In my opinion,
keep your senses sharp, and you might catch a glimpse of a small cave on the right. Be sure to stay away from it, though, as there isn't much room.
In my mind, this is just Cherry Creek is a very difficult.
And finally, our number 1 rapid.
And Lewis's Leap. It's a hard
this
move.
Class 5 plus showstopper will test your limits and reward your bravery. Embark on an exciting journey through a series of mind-bending maneuvers. As you and your crew weave through giant boulders, you are paddling toward the rapid-defining moment known as the leap. Steer your raft through 2 towering Gold Coast rocks, and plunge over a massive 10-foot drop. It's a rewarding rapid and will undoubtedly leave you pumped with adrenaline.
It's a long way of answering the question. Let's look at Gore Rapid. Gore Rapid rafting. Let's see what we get. There's probably tons of video of this. Here we go. Gore Rapid.
Time to help people customize and save with Liberty Mutual.
Oh, I gotta watch.
I forgot my wallet.
Volume on the video is drowning. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so this is Gore. I'll try to turn the volume down. Thanks, Blair. So this is Gore Rapid. This top. Well, they've already done the entrance. Or is this? No, this is the entrance right here. This is the top of the rapid, and it's just weird. And so I'm not super jazzed on this entrance right here. When we kayaked it, I walked this entrance just because I'm like, it's weird, and like if I go upside down or swim, it's a lot more rapid below me. Let's see what's going on. We're about to see carnage. And there's just all these random spots. This whole section in here, let me go back. It's so unpredictable where you end up. There's that rock there. There's holes. It's a bit of luck. Whereas in, oh, there we go, flip. Yep, bad news. And then that swim is heinous. Whereas, like, I feel like in my very best rafting ability, whether that's now or it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I feel like I could run mushroom 99 out of 100 times. Let's say 97 out of 100 times. The same line, super clean. But Gore Canyon, I bet I'm like 53. And never the same. Like you're gonna in Gore Rapid, you're gonna come through here, and then just depending on where you get spit out, you might go right or left of that rock. And there's other things where you like might take different lines. It's always like, let's see what happens, and we'll just go with the flow. Whereas Cherry Creek's more predictable. So this is a very long way of answering the question, saying, I think it depends. I think there's some class 5 that is very difficult. The moves are very difficult, and the consequences aren't that huge. There's consequences, but they're not that huge. And there's some class 5 where it's difficult, and the consequences are very unpleasant, whether it's like getting beat down to the hole, pinned against a rock, nasty swim, injury, death, whatever. So that's my opinion. I think it depends on the class 5. And I think Gore Canyon is not the best example of class 5. It's definitely class 5, and it's in Colorado. So if you live in Colorado, it's your go-to class 5 like run. But if you live in California, you have Cal Salmon, Giant Gap, Forks of the Kern, Middle Feather, Cherry Creek, a bunch of just like really solid class 5 runs. Some of those are easier than others they're just hard rapids. And if you have the skills, you're going to crush through them. Whereas there's other rivers where they're class 5. And even if you have the skills, you kind of roll the dice. It's also why I like the wind a lot. The wind, like wind is class 4 plus. I can go on a Sunday morning and I'll know I'll be home to like go grocery shopping in the afternoon. Like I'm not worried about some epic happening. Now it could happen for sure, but like if I'm going with a solid crew, we're going to have solid lines 99 times out of 100. Okay, so that's my long answer to your question. Hopefully that helps. Nick has some thoughts. Let's go back to this really quick. Would you recommend pins and clips for a dory? I don't know. I don't do dories. That's not my world. So probably not. But yeah, I don't know. So Nick has been thinking about this. He's been boating class 5 a lot. And at first he felt like a roll of dice. Yeah, you've been doing the North Fork Payette, and I think like North Fork Payette is pretty repeatable. Like it's a run that people do day in, day out. I think when you start getting to the middle 5, that's when if you're like Dane Jackson, you'll crush it every time. But if you're just like a mortal class 5 paddler, like a normal class 5 boater, it could be those are some big ones. But lower 5, I feel like a good class 5 boater can run the lower 5 day in, day out, no problem. For example, I had several combat rolls in big class 5 rapids. Having a good roll is key. It's harder because rafting is harder because you end up swimming through no fault of your own, especially in a raft where a wave surging can just flip your boat. Depends on the run. Like I feel like really good art. If people are really good at cap boats or really good at R2ing, I feel like they can do North Fork Payette pretty repeatably. There's less luck, right? If they're really good at cap boating or really good at R2ing, right? But if you're like skills are missing some things, you're gonna have some problems. I think that the North Fork of the Payette is more like Cherry Creek. Like it's very repeatable if you have the skills. If you don't have the skills, you're gonna get beat down. And the thing about harder runs, like the wind is like this for me. If people don't have solid class 4 skills, the wind will exploit those mistakes. Like if you show up to do the wind and you're not actually ready for the wind, the river will point out where your mistakes are and beat you up. North Fork Payette's the same. Like if you go do North Fork Payette and you're not ready for it, what you're lacking will be exploited by the river. I would feel comfortable rafting There's several runs I would feel comfortable rafting consistently. The Gore and the Golly. The Golly, yeah, I mean, the Golly, I'm not sure I would call that class 5. But yeah, I think the Golly is pretty repeatable. I don't feel that way about Gore. I feel like Gore rafting is slightly terrifying. But of course, I've only kayaked in Nick, and you were there. So you probably done Gore more than I have. But runs I know well would never paddle on a raft. Oh, interesting. I would capo North Fork Payette, and people do all the time. And yeah. And I know people that are to North Fork Payette, and they do it repeatedly. So yeah. Gore that includes portage and ginger, because I don't want to run that raft. I don't know what ginger is. Yeah, the thing about Gore, and I think it is flow dependent too. Like at some flows, like some of those rapids are pretty nasty. I really don't want to I don't want to swim North Fork Payette because you're gonna go for a long swim, and I do know somebody who's died there, so that's in my head. I don't want to swim Gore because it's sharp rocks and there's all kinds of weird things. On Cherry Creek, I don't want to swim, but like it's pool drop. It's fairly forgiving in terms of the rocks. I don't know. This is my opinion. Nick, I paddled North Fork Payette as a bow blaster in the 90s. Yeah, there's a lot of epic stories that people are doing rafting North Fork Payette. Yeah, thanks, Blair, for that video. Yeah, sorry about the video playing when I was talking. Hopefully, you guys got the point of what I was trying to say. Okay, lots of just conversation. I cap with the lower 5, but would not cap with the middle. Interesting. I've never done the middle. I've only done the lower 5. So I just have friends who have capoted the middle 5 and they've done it a lot. And so it sounds like it's doable. But yeah, capoting lower 5 does sound pretty fun. So hopefully I answered that question. I'm sorry, Blair and everybody, that if I had the volume of the video going. The point just is that, like, again, I'm just going to repeat it because it's a really good question and a really good thing to talk about. There's all kinds of different class 5. And remember that class 5 is a difficulty rating, not at how scared you are, not about how dangerous it is. It's a difficulty rating with a danger kicker and a remoteness kicker. And if it's super dangerous in particular or super remote, that can move the difficulty level up a little bit from like a 4 to a 4 plus or even a 4 to a 5, something like that. Okay. Chad, you mentioned the bungee or tethers that might help you stay in the boat. They don't help you stay in the boat. They help you reflip a cataraft quickly. Like if I was catarafting North Fork Payette, I would want those. If I flip in North Fork Payette, I want to flip back over as fast as I can and get back in. Right now, nobody's making them, but I'm working on sourcing some. And so I'll maybe in like, I don't know, a month, 2 months, I'll have some for sale. Okay. The middle is a huge step up from the lower 5. Yeah. Yeah. I understand there's like 2 really big rapids in there that are kind of dangerous. Well, team, thanks for watching. I think that's the end of this show. I answered the questions the best I could. If you do have questions in the future, you can go to whitewaterguidebook.com and on the Gear Garage tab, just hit ask a question. That's the best way to ask us a question. We catalog it. We have it ready for the show. Or you can just show up on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. and submit your questions. So that's it for this week. I'm not totally sure if we'll have a show next week. I might change the time a little bit, but we'll if there are questions, we'll try to schedule one for next week. Otherwise, we'll do one the week after that. All right, thanks, everyone.